Sheikh Fawzan, he mentions there are so many special acts of worship to be observed on Friday or its preceding night, which Ibn al-Qayyim in his book Zad al-Ma'ad, Provisions for the Hereafter, he mentioned making them 133 special acts of worship for Friday. Nevertheless, many Muslims neglect this day, giving it no more attention than any other day. And that's a mistake. Friday should be special, right? It's a mistake for a person to make Friday like any other day. Some devote it for sleep, right, and laziness. And others make it a day of play and heedlessness, away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, he mentions a good point, right? Put a star next to this. Consequently, the number of Muslims performing the Fajr prayer on Friday in congregation in the masjid is noticeably decreasing. Right? He mentions the number of Muslims performing Fajr prayer on Friday in congregation in the masajid is noticeably decreasing. And he mentions, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Now, so in that paragraph, without a shadow of a doubt, it's an encouragement to make sure that we are engaged in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Fridays. And in that paragraph is an encouragement to make sure that we pray the Fajr prayer in congregation on Fridays. Shaykh Fawzani continues and he states, it is desirable for a Muslim to go early to the masjid for the Jumu'ah prayer. Right? When he enters, he prays Tahiyatul Masjid. He prays the two rak'ah to greet the masjid. Now, he is permitted to perform more voluntary prayers if it is early for the Jumu'ah prayer, as the Salaf used to go early to the masjid for the Jumu'ah prayer and perform voluntary prayers until the Imam came to deliver the sermon. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he states that it is more befitting it's more befitting for the one who goes early to the masjid for the Jumu'ah prayer to perform voluntary prayers until the Imam comes to deliver the sermon. It is stated in authentic hadith that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, ثُمَّ يُصَلِّي مَا كُتِبَ لَهُ, that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, then he may perform prayer as much as Allah has written for him. Moreover, the words of the Prophet ﷺ urged Muslims to perform voluntary prayer when they enter the masjid before the sermon or before the khutbah on Friday, without determining a specific time to do that. Right? Highlight this portion right here. Now, it is also narrated that the companions used to perform voluntary prayers as much as they could when they entered the masjid before the khutbah on Fridays. It could happen that one of them will perform 10 units of prayer, 12 units of prayer, or 8 units of prayer, and sometimes more or less than that, meaning that when they came to the masjid early, they would busy themselves with voluntary prayers. That is why the majority of scholars agree that there is no specific time or number for the voluntary prayer before Jumu'ah. And this voluntary prayer is considered a good deed and is not sunan ar-ratibah or ar-rawatib, meaning they're not prayers connected to Jumu'ah. Because, you got 2 connected to what? Fajr, right? 4 before Dhuhr, 4 after, right? Had a discussion later, right? We got, 2 after Maghrib, right? And 2 after what? Isha, right? 2 after Maghrib and 2 after Isha. Now, so those are called rawatib, meaning that they're connected to the what? Obligatory prayer. These prayers before Jumu'ah aren't of the same type, right? The units of prayer before Jumu'ah aren't of the same type. They're not necessarily connected to Jumu'ah prayer. Rather, they're just voluntary units of prayer. Thus, according to the soundest view, a Muslim is not legally blamed whether or not he performs voluntary prayers before the Jumu'ah prayer. However, if ignorant people believe that will believe that they're from the sunan of Jumu'ah prayer, then in this case, giving up this voluntary prayer will be better. Meaning someone sees you, they may look up to you and they see you and they believe that they're connected to the Jumu'ah prayer the same way the 2 before Fajr are. Then it will be better to leave off so they don't take you as an example. No.